Superman Leviathan Rising Special Issue 1 by lots of people. I didn't write them down because there was like 4 writers and 4 artists.
Well, you got Bendis
And Rucka and Fraction and Draco.
right, and then the art. I was trying to get Bendis's artist.
It's Paquette, Perkins,
Paquette,
Lieber, Pansica, and Ferreira.
Yeah.
Right, exciting stuff. All right, Matt, be positive as something. What did you think of
Oh,
Superman
no, I
Leviathan?
love this book. I like what's going on in Superman right now, and I like the fact that we finally get Talia and Leviathan and what that means, and the fact that how do you get to Superman is you go after the press, but not Lois, because if you go after Lois, that's going to cause problems. You go after Clark Kent, and I just love the whole idea that they got Superman, but they didn't realize they got Superman, or did they? You know what I mean? Like it led to this. Does Leviathan know what they were doing?
Yeah,
Or was this like
Leviathan.
an accident?
Leviathan might know.
Yeah.
Talia
So-
didn't for sure.
Yeah.
So we have like this bookend thing where Bendis is at the start and the end of the book, and it's the story of oh god, what's her name? I've not learned her name yet.
Oh,
Leon.
yeah,
Leon.
The invisible.
Yeah, the Invisible Mafia leader, Leon. Where she essentially is cornered in an art gallery by Leviathan, whoever's running Leviathan, but he's got like, you know, face changing tech on. But it's not just like
that was Spiral to me. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
but it's
because
not,
you can see it changing.
yeah, it's not exactly what
Digital.
Spiral had though. It's like you can actually
No.
see it changing to different like faces every so often. So there's
Right.
always like a face you can see, but it's like
Yep.
it's flipping through them every, I don't know, minute or whatever.
Yeah, and I like that because it completely, even if she thought she knew what was going on, the fact that it keeps changing. But yeah, I like that Leviathan goes up to her and is like, "Hey, I like what you're doing. This whole secret thing, I can work with that." You know?
Hey, for a minute before when it was on the first page and it was like this mysterious person walking up with I thought it was Lex at first. I thought the idea that
Me
Lex
too.
had discovered there was this organization who was operating under Superman without him ever even been
Yeah.
aware of it. It was appealing to him, but it's Leviathan, and they're like, "Hey, you must have done research on how to get rid of him for good, right?" Like, it's like, well, I mean, I don't know if I necessarily like think that's the best idea, but if you were going to do it, like you say, Matt, you go after like a weakness and not Lois, because I love that later on when it's suggested about Lois, it's like, how many people have tried that? How many people have been after Lois Lane and it's never worked? It's never ended up in the right way. So
it makes it worse for you if you go after Lois.
and then the other thing is like people who try to kill Superman have this obsession with like basking in it and telling him about what the plan was and how it works. Like, no, just kill him right away. If you know how you can kill Superman, just do it and do it immediately. Like, so no, I like the kind of the almost meta like the things that people say is, oh well, just do this, you know, anything everyone ever says about why villains monologue or that what villains do because of their ego. This is saying, no, if you want to succeed in this, you just do it.
Yeah.
And that's really good.
So good.
And Clark, you know, senses because he's going to visit Lois, who's in a hotel in Chicago, and he's like, "Hey, there's people in our apartment. There's like soldiers and like night vision gear, and they're there for someone." It's like, "Are they there for me?" He's like, "No, maybe they're there for me. Like, they're looking for Clark Kent."
Yeah, because if they're there for Superman, it'd be a little bit different.
Yeah.
Like, you know, just this is them. So he basically goes and gives himself up for the story.
Yes, as Lois jokes, she's done many a time. She's gotten herself captured for a story.
Yeah. But then it turns because Leviathan shows up and straps him with a kryptonite like vest.
Yeah.
Which was there as I read it was to prevent Superman, right, from doing anything with Clark.
Yeah. So they don't know he's Superman. They're expect, but this is like if
Right.
Superman shows up, like this is the trap or part of the trap.
So now he's like, "Damn it! I got myself into trouble. Except there's no Superman coming to save me, like with Lois, you know."
Yeah.
So I liked all that inner monologue kind of stuff.
Yeah, and actually it shifts to Rucka's part of it quite seamlessly. I mean, it's not because of the art change, but like the actual story flow is just like, okay, is it? She's like, "Hey, Superman, like, I know you can hear me, maybe that hearing. I wouldn't mind if you came and tucked me into bed, if you know what I mean." And then no response on the phone. Nothing happens. And then she starts to get paranoid about, okay, he's just saving a cat in a tree. Like, you'll be here.
He'll be fine.
Yeah.
He does this.
Yeah.
And that's not like him.
She calls Batman first, and then Wonder Woman, and basically is like, I think something's wrong, and I think he needs help. And they kind of accept that if there's one person on Earth who knows that he needs help, it'll be her. And they start looking into it, and she's kind of like there on her own. And obviously, when we get to the bookend, the back chunk of the issue, like Clark does get out because Talia lets him go. Because Talia's not running Leviathan anymore. That's the big thing we learn in this issue, is that this mysterious Leviathan character, the leader, has usurped her, and actually throws her out of their fancy flying device. Whatever, it's not a blimp, but it's something.
Their base. Yeah, flying base. And Superman comes in, makes a save. I also love because then we get to the Jimmy story, but I like here that you hear the phone call first in the Lois story, and Jimmy's like, I need $10,000 and all this stuff. And then we're like, what the hell is Jimmy doing? And then we get to the Fraction Jimmy story, and it's basically everything I want from a Jimmy story. Like, as great as the Rucka story was, it was kind of expected. Like, it's going to be Lois. It's going to be a little bit darker thematically. Yeah. Almost, feels like almost like a crime story.
I definitely like the Lois one more than the Jimmy one.
No. I mean,
I like them about equal. I had higher expectations that were met for Rucka versus the Fraction one.
Yeah.
Where I was like, I didn't know what to expect.
Don't get me wrong.
I ended up liking it.
I did like the cats in the story with Jimmy, and I went, is this Dexter? This feels like Dexter when she starts picking up red.
Yep.
And then later on, when Jimmy and Lois and who was with them at the end? I can't remember. But when they show up to save Clark, essentially, Jimmy's got this outfit on. He's got this bear outfit.
It's like a gorilla suit.
Sorry, because they're in Gorilla City in his story.
Yep.
And he's got Dexter, who's in his Red Lantern costume on his shoulder. So Jimmy's got Dexter as a pet now somehow.
And your rage cat, he says at one point.
Yeah. So don't get me wrong. I am excited for Jimmy's comic having Dexter as a supporting character. Don't get me wrong.
Yes. Also, I wanted to bring up real quick before we talk about the Jimmy story in detail.
Yeah.
Bendis flashes over to the Mongol fight that we saw in Naomi again, which I thought that's pretty cool. You see the Port Oswego clear in the back, so that's pretty cool. I like that. Let me get to what he says. There's the Dahlia stuff, but yeah, the Jimmy, just the amount of cringe in that Jimmy issue, just it kills me.
Oh yeah,
but,
Jimmy's accidentally got married to someone.
Yeah.
In Gorilla City, who apparently have drive-through weddings like Vegas.
Of course they do.
Yeah.
Of course they do. And she's basically this she steals, but in terms of, but not just as a thief, but to return heirlooms and shit back to the rightful family lines or whatever.
Her own dimension, her
own dimension.
They're all stolen from her family,
Right.
hundreds of thousands of years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was Firestorm that shows up with Dexter, Gorilla Suit Jimmy,
that's Firestorm.
and
that's
Lois. Right. Is that that's Talia, right? Who shows up? It's Lois, right?
Yeah, it was Lois at the end. Yeah.
But she's dressed like Talia.
I assumed that was because she was infiltrating, or it was a disguise or something like that.
Yeah. Okay.
Because why is Jimmy
wearing
for
a second without reading it?
Yeah. Why is Jimmy wearing a gorilla suit, for example?
Well, find out.
Yeah.
I'm sure. But,
yeah. So do you think Jimmy and Lois's books are going to be set during this? There's actually a much longer time where Clark was missing, and that's where those two books are going to be set, or do you think they're just going to be ongoing?
No, I think it'll be ongoing. I think we'll get a little bit of what they were doing, just because, but yeah, I love when Dexter throws up on him, and it's way over the top, it's very cartoony.
Oh, it's Evil Dead.
Yeah,
yeah.
I think, my impression on this is very different, given that I didn't read the Bendis bulk of it,
Uh-huh.
or the Supergirl section, right? So, like, I liked the lowest bit one. I really liked the tone and the style.
Yeah.
But I was like, okay, this is clearly following on from the Bendis story bit. I don't really care what's going on yet. So I'm hoping that her, when it gets to her own book, it's still like, okay, she's investigating something. It's this tone, just not this mystery, right? Just set it up as its own mystery. It doesn't need to be tied into the larger thing. Just Lois doing a mystery is kind of
Doesn't
what I
need
want.
to be, but it might very well be.
It might well be, and it's the same with Jimmy. I like this. It feels like an extension. The book we had where it was with Bizarro on the road trip. Just
Yep.
it's its own thing. It's doing something separate. That's what I want from both these books. I just want side books that feel totally completely different.
But see, I feel like they'll have, not that they'll tie in, but whatever's going on in Bendis's book will be referenced some way, even if it's just slightly.
Sure, but I just want them to be enough.
Like it's part of a larger line.
What I'd like is at the end of it to be able to just buy, like 2 hardcovers that I can give to people who, oh, you want a Lois story? Here, read Lois by Rucka.
I think it will be, because Rucka kind of specializes in that kind of thing. Look at his Wonder Woman, which we all know how much I loved.
And the Jimmy thing is so over the top and zany and stylistic that I just want that.
Almost whiplash inducing, because even Lieber's art is very cartoon strippy. Like it's so it snaps out of that super dark Lois art that's very film noir, almost Sean Phillips esque in that gritty crime style. And then over here to and we even get a hint to the adventure that Jimmy and Superman went to the fifth dimension cartoon world.
Yeah.
Fifth dimension funnies. So
just for the record, Perkins on that Lois story.
Yeah.
I think his art suits this type of story way better than he did on that little stint he had on Green Lanterns, which I liked him on Green Lanterns, but it's just much more at home.
I like Perkins' art a lot, actually. I think it fits quite well. Does good with the dark shadows and that kind of thing.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Which is what we praised on Green Lanterns as well. It's just tonally way more appropriate here.
So I'm expecting this character, Jimmy's wife, we'll see
to show back up
in Jimmy's book.
Jix, I believe her name was.
Jix, yeah, and he's taken her name. Bizarrely.
Yep.
So we have that going. Supergirl story, kind of. What I kind of like about the Supergirl chunk is it's kind of like, okay, her space adventures are coming to an end to some extent soon, and this is kind of like setting up how she ties into the Superman story on her own, where the Danvers, we find out have split up. Supergirl doesn't know that though. She's kind of like searching the wreckage of the house, trying to like piece it together, and we see these flashbacks.
And she finds Jeremiah's ring, and she's like, "Well, he would never take this off." So what happened? Something bad happened.
Yeah.
And we see that they basically split up over the whole DEO attack, and she's kind of like, well, it's Jeremiah and Eliza. And Eliza's like, well, is this really such a bad thing? Because the DEO started to not be what it originally was for under Bones.
Yeah.
So maybe Leviathan's onto something, and Jeremiah just can't get behind that. So it looks like they separate, and he's moving out, and she's sitting there reminiscing about Kara when that blue creature comes up.
The Leviathan thing,
Yeah.
Which, I mean, we don't know if he's killing her or if he's teleporting her somewhere, but either way, Eliza's wrapped up in this like a lot of the other like people.
Yeah. So I got to look at who else has been abducted, but we know who they've been going after. And what if this isn't about removing them from a board, but it's about recruiting them into Leviathan? Right?
I can see that.
Like, so Eliza, because Eliza's the one that was positive about Leviathan, when they went after Manhunter, right? And they've gone after Bones, but ultimately Bones didn't play ball, so he's out. So I'm wondering if at the end of this, Leviathan's not actually this big, shadowy, evil organization, and it's like this undercurrent, you know what I mean? That they're villainous in the way that they're trying to control things, but that's not their thing. They're not about destruction, like Leviathan was under
I mean,
Talia.
if they're teleporting her away and recruiting her, then blowing up the house seems like a bit excessive.
Well, they're covering their tracks,
Mm.
you know, like because there's no bodies. We keep seeing that, you know.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, and it seems like Leviathan himself or whoever is under the mask doesn't seem to want to play hardball, you know, the way that
Yeah. Although,
the,
just to be clarified here, this blue thing that's doing the exploding and
Yeah.
possible teleporting is not Leviathan, the leader. Like he's
no,
very different. Looks
no,
different.
whatever
Yeah.
tool it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't know what this thing is. It's this big mass. It's kind of reminiscent of Doomsday with all of the spines on it, you know. But yeah, but we get Manhunter in the background here of the Supergirl story. Kate Spencer's running around in full gear, which we had last seen in action. So
yeah, I mean, we know it's coming up because one of the lowest covers has got
Manhunter.
Yeah.
That's the detectives stuff.
So no, so it looks like Supergirl is also going to be kind of connected to the Leviathan plot a little bit as we go forward here for a little while, which is nice. And it's kind of odd because we have Leviathan as its own miniseries now on top of Superman in action. So
yeah,
it's
Event Leviathan.
Yeah, it's almost like we have action double shipping starting next month in a way.
Also, in the book ended chapter, we get Good. She gets made partner in the Invisible Mafia because she's the leader's pissed that Leviathan got to her and figure out who she was.
Yeah.
So the Red Cloud take out her head of security because you don't make that mistake. You don't make a mistake.
Yeah, and she's going to take out the entire security team and get a whole new security team because someone clearly leaked where she was going to be. Someone gave someone details.
Mm-hmm. So she makes Red Cloud a member, like a partner, which I like that scene. And just because I like this type of villain, it's the complete opposite of what we're used to in Superman. You know, the big grandstanding, I'm going to take out a whole city. She's like, no, we're not even going to say the things associated with him.
Yeah, no, I've liked the secret mafia stuff. Cause this idea of like them operating without them noticing is really interesting. It is very different from Lex or whoever, or any of the more cosmic or alien villains, who are very much punchy, and this is not that.
Nope.
By any stretch. So I mean, Clark's back at the end, and it's like, okay, so I'm going to write a hell of an article about this. And everything else.
I love this page just in general because it shows it's Lois doing what she does best, and then like Perry's actually happy that Jimmy got the pictures, right? Because it looks like he's praising him here.
Yeah.
And then you have Maggie Q. Wait, Maggie Q. What's her name? She's the gossip columnist. She's behind them.
Yeah, Maggie Q is an actress. I'm sure.
Yeah, she is. I know it's something Q.
I want to say Susie Q. Is that?
Yeah, that's a snack.
Something Q.
Yeah. Oh, man, I'm gonna look up.
Oh dear.
But yeah. But no, yeah, overly enjoyed this. I'm very excited for this going forward for this event.
Yeah, no, I am too. I mean, we've been liking Ben and Superman a lot, so it's not surprising that we were both really into this.
Yeah.
This was 80 pages of like all the super books, and I've been liking them all. And obviously, Raquel Lois is certainly nothing to be upset about. So, no, super good. I mean, are you excited for Lois and Jimmy, Connor?
Jimmy more so. Lois, I need to see context. If it's like investigating like this mystery or a mystery directly relating to Leviathan, I'm inherently significantly less excited about that. Just because I'm not following those, so you would be less excited. Jimmy, it feels like sure he phones Lois, he texts Lois, right? And so this is going on concurrently, and it's happening at the same time. There was effects. Those events are having an effect in the sense that Clark doesn't show up and get him, but it's so zany and fun that I feel like I'm just going to enjoy that book no matter what. So I'm kind of more excited for that in terms of just based on these two previews of what I could expect.
Yeah. No, I'm pumped. I think, because we still don't know, like, obviously we don't know who Leviathan is, the leader, but we also don't know what their motive is, what their goals are. Like, there's a lot of mystery still. I mean, hell, even then the book it says mysteries continue in Leviathan, on sale June whatever. So I'm super into it, but like we've been saying, very different villains for Superman, which makes this very exciting. And Bendis is taking his time setting them up, so they don't just feel like thrown in for a quick, a quick story, a quick jolt. This is like, no, we've been building this since the start of his run in action, and here we're getting to the kind of some of the payoff. And it's mixing with other villains that he set up, which are also interesting and different, which is nice. So how much is Secret Mafia and Red Cloud going to play into Leviathan? I expect they'll still be around after it. But I could see them having some part to play here. Maybe they get a chance to do more in the city because Superman's busy with Leviathan, perhaps. But yeah. Perkins was probably my favorite art in the issue.
I really like the Paquette stuff. I just.
I really like,
good too.
I like the Supergirl stuff as well, actually. I thought that looked really solid. But yeah. What are you giving the Leviathan Rising Special, Matt?
9. I really, really thoroughly enjoyed it.
Cara, what are you giving the 40% you read?
Based off just what I read, 7.5. Jimmy probably drags up a little bit, whereas Lois was lacking context for me.
Sure. I'll go 8.5. But no, super excited for Event Leviathan.